Among the many effects of 9/11 and the Iraq War has been this one. More books on the Middle East are being published than ever before. In the past, books on the Middle East appeared to a fairly narrow readership. You had to go to the back of the bookstore to find them. But today you can't be an educated American and not have read a small library of books on the Middle East. You find them displayed prominently on the table in the front of the store, on the front page of the weekly book review supplement, and on the bestseller lists. You could read a new book a day on the Middle East and not keep pace. But this abundance only creates a new problem. Which books on the Middle East should America read? Which books should Washington read? I call this the battle for the nightstand. Newspapers compete for your attention on the morning train. Policy briefs by think tanks compete for your attention at the office. But it's books that find their way to America's nightstands. And given the flood of books on the Middle East, intelligent readers want to know what deserves to be on their nightstands. Now, lots of things influence reading decisions, for better or ill. An aggressive advertising campaign by a publisher can make a difference. If you can run a full-page ad in the New York Times, you're going to be noticed. But everyone knows commercial advertising for what it is, so thinking people look beyond it for more discriminating recommendations. Of course, there are the bestseller lists, which tell you what everyone else thinks is worth reading. But bestseller lists are no guarantee of quality work, and on the Middle East, the range has been quite wide. On the New York Times bestseller list, you'd have found this past year Michael Oren's Power, Faith, and Fantasy, and Jimmy Carter's Palestine, Peace, or Apartheid. Thinking people know that bestseller lists are problematic guides to what's worth reading, and they look still further. There are the book reviews in the newspapers and magazines and publications like the New York Review. Book reviews can be invaluable guides, provided one knows how to read them. The key thing to remember is that a book review is one person's opinion of a book. A book review, by definition, isn't an impersonal judgment. It's a highly personal judgment, often influenced by a backstory that's invisible to the reader. And it's why book reviews often reveal more about the reviewer than about the book. For all these reasons, the most discriminating readers look to book prizes as the ultimate measure of quality. First, a book prize is awarded by an independent jury. It's a collective judgment, not a personal one. And the verdict of a distinguished jury carries far more weight than any review. Second, a book prize doesn't just pronounce that a book is good. It selects the best books and it ranks them by quality. And third, a book prize, unlike a review, backs up its verdict with something tangible. And if that something is measured in dollars, a substantial prize adds still more credibility to the verdict and to the prize winner. This is why a distinguished prize does more to boost the reputation of a book and its author than anything else in publishing. We at the Washington Institute think that the battle for the nightstand is crucial. We're particularly keen to identify the very best books on the Middle East for well-placed readers in Washington. It matters immensely which books our leaders and policymakers drop in their briefcases before heading out on a long flight to the Middle East, or for the weekend, perhaps at Camp David. And I don't mention Camp David facetiously. The British author, Sir Alistair Horn, was recently summoned by President Bush to discuss his book, A Savage War of Peace, on the Algerian War of Independence. It's a book now widely read, especially in the military, for insights into our predicament in Iraq. Horn reported later that the president, quote, had obviously read the book most thoroughly. He had put in a lot of work. Where he finds the time, I don't know, end of quote. We might imagine that people with the weight of the world on their shoulders don't have time for books, but a mountain of anecdotal evidence suggests the contrary. In the next few weeks, we'll be announcing this year's jury and our rules. We intend to meet the procedural standards of the best-regarded general book prizes. And the size of our awards is sure to earn the immediate attention of publishers, authors, and ultimately readers. At this time next year, we'll make the first awards: a gold prize of $30,000, a silver prize of $15,000, and a bronze prize of $5,000, a total of $50,000 in book prizes. To the best of my knowledge, these will be the only monetary prizes for Middle East-related books in the United States. On a personal note, I'm grateful to the Institute for entrusting me with administering the prize and assisting the jury. Rob Satlov cleverly exploited one of my weaknesses. I'm an incurable bibliophile who has a buy-a-book-a-day habit. So I was easily seduced by visions of cascading books. I also want to commend both Rob, who is himself an author of a recent prize-winning book, and the Washington Institute's officers and trustees for their imagination in launching this venture. In everything they touch, they set a new standard. So, too, will the Washington Institute Book Prize. Thank you.